Hello, my friends, and Happy New Year. 2023 is upon us. I am currently here at the Marlow Theatre in Canterbury, finishing off my final week of Panto, playing Caraboss, or Carrie Boss, as they've called her in this version, in Sleeping Beauty. Now, for those of you that know me, I love New Year's. I am firmly of the belief that you can start again any given day, but New Year's gives you a nice excuse, and I love it. I love the inspiration that I feel around New Year's to wipe the slate clean, or to get rid of old feelings or grudges or mentalities and mindsets that I had in a past year, and to start again, to start afresh. Sort of like a spring cleaning of the brain. That's how I always feel around New Year's. So I am the sort of person that does a list of New Year's resolutions. But before I start with the New Year's resolutions, in fact, it's going to be a whole other video, I wanted to start with a reintroduction here on YouTube, because last year I made, I think it was something like 15, 16 videos within the entire year, because I didn't have the best start to the year, and then the rest of my year, when it did pick up mentally and emotionally, just got very, very busy. So YouTube very much took a back seat. But not this year, my friends. As I said in my last video, I want this year to be the year of the YouTube comeback. So I am starting now. I'm starting as I mean to go on. Because New Year's for me is also a time to reminisce. I am a very sentimental person. I very much like looking back, not just at fond memories, but looking back at who I was and who I used to be and who I am now in comparison. And for a long time, that used to be a hard thing for me to do, because I used to look back at who I used to be in, let's say, when I started YouTube, and I was in a place in my life where everything felt complicated or messy. So I used to look back at my old videos, or even just old photos of myself, going, oh, I miss the innocence I used to have, or the freshness I used to have when I looked at the world, and that almost sort of sweetness. I was very trusting, and it's not that I'm not trusting anymore, but it's just when you're a 19-year-old who's starting out making videos, like, what does anyone know at 19? And me more so than anyone, because I missed out on sixth form, college, university, lots of even just social experiences, aside from all of the academic things I would have learned going to higher education, but even just social experiences that help build a human, I had missed out on. So I feel like I had even more naivety than your average 19-year-old. So then when you are in a place in your life where you feel things are complicated or a bit messy and just not quite where you want them to be, and you look back at who you used to be and you see this fresh, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed human with a zest for creativity, and you just don't feel that same way anymore, you go, oh, I miss that. I miss that person. I miss feeling that excitement for even just the smallest things. But now, for the first time in a really long time, I've got that excitement back, and I've got that zest back. And so looking back at old versions of myself doesn't feel quite as harrowing or sad. There's less melancholy when I watch old videos of myself, which brings me to the video that sort of not began it all, but began this persona that I've had for the last decade, and that was a video entitled The Honorary Big Sister. It was a video made for the Department of Health, and a bunch of YouTubers were hired to talk about hashtag awkward conversations. That was the hashtag we all had to use, and I was given the topic of drugs, which was hysterical, because even to this day, I've not even tried a cigarette. I think the topics were dished out at random. And aside from what the video was actually about, I opened up my inbox and my comment section and essentially described myself as an honorary big sister, saying that you could use my space on the internet to have those awkward conversations and maybe talk to me or talk to each other in the comment sections about things that you wouldn't necessarily want to talk to your parents about or teachers about. To this day, the phrase honorary big sister gets used in like interviews when YouTube is brought up. And that was 11 years ago. That video was October 17th, 2012. That is sort of the seed that everything grew from, and how I sort of found my niche here on YouTube. I was the honorary big sister. And so when that is the place that you grow from, no matter how far away you grow from it, That is always what people can trace it back to. And the weird thing about the internet and YouTube is that someone today could watch the honorary big sister video and think that that is me today. And I am not that person anymore. I am now a 30-year-old who doesn't feel uncomfortable being called an honorary big sister, but that is also not a mantle I feel I can uphold anymore. Because even back then, it was a lot of pressure. But back then, relative to now, you know, it was still a lot of people, but there was only 100,000 people watching back then. Now there's 600,000 people, and even my Instagram, like last month, I had a very weirdly good month on Instagram, and 1.6 million individual unique accounts viewed my crap on Instagram. And that is a very different figure, and a very different amount of people, and a very different invitation of pressure when you are upholding this idea of being an honorary big sister and someone that anyone can message. And whilst I still love people messaging me, and I still love being someone that people can talk to, it's very different actively encouraging that and actively saying, come and speak to me, because who am I? I'm an actress. I'm not a counsellor or a therapist. The only way that I could possibly feel I could help someone is by being in a show that someone comes and watches and feels better about their lives as a result, or I sing a song that resonates with someone. You know, art is there to make people feel things, and that is the only way that I feel I can actually make any kind of change or difference or make someone feel better. So I feel like I need to actively lay to rest this mantle that I essentially accidentally gave myself, not realizing how big of a thing it was and how long I would carry it through my life for. I need to lay it to rest. And whilst I'm still here and I'm still around and my inbox is still open, I set a precedent that I would reply and I would be there in people's lives trying to make a difference. And I am one 30-year-old woman who can barely even order her own food in a restaurant, let alone actively help 600,000 people, or be expected to. And I think this is why I've been so scared, I guess, for a while, not to hark upon that time where YouTubers all made videos talking about how scared they were to make YouTube content, but I have been apprehensive about making content because I'm you know, this honorary big sister. How would it look if I said that? And what would people actually feel if I made a video like that these days? And I used to make all these videos talking about how I felt and what I thought, and I just don't feel like I can do that anymore, or I haven't felt like I've been able to do that anymore, because the internet has had this weird shift. It's not as community driven anymore. It feels like every man for themselves, and with that comes a lot of apprehension about what I share and who I share it with, and I don't really want to feel that anymore. And I feel like the thing that is holding me back is this sort of archive, I guess, of who I was once upon a time. And I'm not going to delete my videos at all, but I feel like for my own sanity and my own mental state, I need to make a video that draws a line and sort of says I'm starting again, but I'm not starting again. Just putting a bookmark, a little marker in my videos going, and all of this up until now was great, but I've grown into somebody else now, and that's not who I am anymore. And whilst I loved being that person, and I love all the content that I made around there, I've grown into a 30-year-old woman now, and that's also great. And I love who I am now, and I'm very happy with where I am. It's just not the same as that. Lessen this weight and pressure that I feel that doesn't necessarily come from anyone other than myself, but just for me, I need to draw a little line and reintroduce myself as this version of me. So hi, my name's Carrie Hope Fletcher. I'm 30 years old. I'm a musical theatre performer, which is everything to me. I love theatre, I love performing. It's the only thing I've ever really known how to do well. and I'm proud of that, and I'm proud of the work that I've done, and I do think I'm good at this. I do think I'm good at what I do, and I'm not ashamed to say so. I'm also an author, and I've written 9 books. One of them isn't out yet. I grew up in London. I'm a Londoner. I grew up just outside of London, but I'm still on the tube map, and I've always lived just on the cusp of the tube map, so I can still call myself a Londoner. My dad worked in a Kodak factory in silver recovery for like 21 years. He got made redundant when I was like 13, 14, and then became a caretaker at a school, and my mum was a learning support teacher at a different school. And whilst they didn't have performing jobs, my mum loves musicals, so we always watched musical like movies like My Fair Lady, Oliver, Sound of Music, Singing in the Rain. I grew up surrounded by that, and my dad used to play in a band that would play in like YMCAs and like pubs and clubs and stuff, but that all stopped before I was born. There's always been music and an element of performing within the Fletcher household, which is how me and my brother ended up doing what we were doing. I guess another thing I should mention is that my brother is Tom Fletcher of McFly. And the other string to my bow is that I've been vlogging for the last 11 years, and there are parts of that that I really struggle with, and there are parts of that that I love, and this year is all about embracing all those parts that I really, really love, because I've missed it. I've missed creating content, and I've missed sharing how I feel and think. And I guess something else I should mention is that I am engaged to someone called John Montague, and it's a different video. That is a different video, but it's something that makes my heart very happy, as it should. So it's something that I should definitely mention here. I have an Instagram subscription service where a bunch of lovely people have subscribed to get extra stuff aside from all of the other free stuff that I post on my my Instagram page, and I ask them for questions that you would ask someone if you were trying to get to know them. So here are a few of those. What nicknames have people given you? My name, I feel, is a really hard name to nickname. Carrie, Car. I don't like being called Kaz, which was a nickname I had in primary school, and it just reminds me of being in primary school, and I hated primary school, so Kaz. I don't like being called Kaz. But one nickname I get a lot that I feel like isn't a nickname because I think it takes more effort is my initials, CHF. And the first person to ever call me that was Phil Jupitus. He used to call me CHF, and I loved it. I love being called CHF. What's something that makes you happy? I love talking. If you hadn't guessed, I love a chat. Nothing makes me happier than dissecting ways of thinking or getting onto a topic that me and the other person or the group of people are really enthusiastic and excited to talk about. I bloody love a chat. I just love it. That makes my soul alight. What are your career aspirations? I find this one such a hard question to answer because from the looks of things, from the looks of the career that I've been so lucky to have, it looks like I'm a really ambitious person. And I am to a degree, but not on an upward trajectory, if that makes sense. I just love doing things that make me happy and that fulfill me creatively. So if I just get to keep doing that, I'm thrilled. So my aspirations are to just keep being creative and do things that make me happy whilst also paying my bills. But I've got no grand plans to be like the biggest musical theatre performer that there ever was, or to, I don't know, break America, or you know what I mean? Like I don't necessarily have career aspirations that take me on an upward trajectory. I find that word so hard to say, trajectory, that end with me being a global superstar. In fact, I think I'd really dislike that because I struggle with the small modicum of fame that I have within this circle, let alone being any more famous than this. I don't think I'd enjoy it. So my aspirations are just to keep doing things that make me happy that also pay my mortgage and my bills. And finally, and I've left this one till last because I think it's the most important question, jam or cream first? And I'm scared to answer this one because I know how divisive it is. But my answer, my friends, is jam first. Because jam is a spread and cream is a topping. But also, I don't like jam. So I go for like a really thin spread of jam just to flavour it with a bit of strawberry and then heaps of cream on top to disguise the jam. So there we go. I feel like this was more of a heavy topic than I expected it to be. It felt good, and it feels good to be back making videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.